Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. As always, I'm your host, Saunch. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. If you enjoy this style of content, I know some of you have requested more episodes of Bodybuilding Today, where we discuss some top trending stories in the NPC and IFBB. Definitely consider subscribing and leaving a like. Definitely let me know what athletes you want to see next in the next Bodybuilding Today episode. But I wanted to give, in our first iteration of the show, or our first piece, I wanted to give a highlight to one of my favorite natural Midwest competitors, an NPC Classic Physique champion, Dylanmwhite. Now, Dylanmwhite here, I actually met him back in Kansas City when I competed at my first show, is when he actually competed and won his natural pro card in the IPE. Since then, he has competed. He won a regional NPC show, and then he also did the junior nationals. And overall, I thought he did a phenomenal job. I thought he looked stupendous. I think he is aware that his legs are probably his weakest body part, and I know he's been working really hard to improve his lower body. But he's one of my favorite natural competitors. He's one of my favorite people online, just in general. He has a very positive outlook on things, and I definitely recommend you check him out. Specifically, he was talking about in this post, he is the head coach of Pivota Performance. So it looks like he's doing coaching for future bodybuilding competitors, which is exciting for me, definitely, and then also for you. I know lots of you I know are natural competitors, so check out Dylanmwhite. Definitely recommend him. But I just wanted to give him a quick plug on this video. Moving into some of the IFBB guys, some of the big stories that I think are interesting and I wanted to talk about is William Martins. Now, William Martins, we haven't seen him since around last year, where we saw him compete. I think it was the Portugal Pro. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have some photos up here. Little collage I put together of his placings there, and he placed third place at that show. I'd say he looked phenomenal from the side shots, and then the ab shot as well is just crazy good. But he did have kind of a weird physique when it comes to the midsection. It's just a little too big, and especially from the back shots, it looked like his lower body and midsection were a little too big compared to his upper body in the back shots specifically. So I'd like to see some improvements there. And then also, he's rocking that vacuum, but I think it's kind of the Nick Walker effect. So maybe if he crunches down his abs, it would give his physique a little bit more pop. Not too sure, but that's kind of my look at it right now. But William Martins is sharing some physique updates around 7 weeks out from the Arnold South America, or some people call it the Arnold Brazil. So expect to see him at that show. Expect to see him looking phenomenal. We have some other big names. Raf Brandeo said that he's going to be doing that show. It comes to mind right off the bat. And then I know there was another competitor that recently announced that he was going to be doing that show, and the name just escapes me at this moment. The dogs outside are going crazy, so I really apologize that that's probably catching on the mic. But in our next story, I wanted to talk about Ramon Dino. Now, I saw a post from Buys and Tries, a very popular bodybuilding outlet on the Instagrams, and I thought it was interesting. It was a repost, and it was talking about how Ramon, or Mr. Dino here, could potentially have an upset at the 2022 Olympia in Classic Physique. Now, this is no disrespect to Dino, and hopefully the Brazil fans, hey, I love you guys. This isn't it's not a bash, it's not a hit, but I think that Chris Bumstead is just a little bit larger, has a little bit more of a favorite view from the judges, him being the reigning 3-time, the three-peat in the Classic. And then also, he's just bigger. Chris Bumstead's bigger. The structure just flows just a little crazier. So I think Dino has it. He has what it takes to win an Olympia, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I think he's going to have to do what Nick Walker is going to need to do and take just a couple more years, keep building the physique, keep perfecting the symmetry, the aesthetics. A little bit different compared to Dino to Nick Walker, more aesthetics and less aesthetics, if you know what I mean. But overall, an amazing competitor. He's never placed outside top 3 in any pro show since his debut in 2020 at the what was that, the Europa Spain, I think it was. I have a collage up here for you so you can look at some physique shots from him. But expect him to do well at the Olympia. I couldn't see him falling outside top 4 in my humble prediction. But let me know, guys, how you guys are feeling so far about William Martins and Ramon Dino. Next up, we have Hassan Mostafa. Now, I love Hassan. This guy is just such a freak. He's just a beast of a man. Now, he has probably some of the craziest proportions in men's open. The problem is his midsection hasn't been able to stay in all the way, and he hasn't been able to get the really dry, separated conditioning, striations, all those things in the leg department. The quads haven't had that real nice crisp pop in those clean lines. They just haven't been there yet. And it's unfortunate. We want to see more from Hassan. He's still a young competitor. I mean, he's just not even 30 yet. He's 29. So he has a long time to really perfect this. But a lot of people are just writing him off because he just hasn't nailed it yet. But you got to remember, this guy's young. This guy is... he's like Regan Grimes. He's still young. He still has a world of potential, and he already has all the muscle he needs. He just needs to perfect it. Speaking of, having the muscle and perfecting it, our next story is Patricktmoore. Now, earlier in the year, Patrick wasn't too happy with his Olympia placings. I have a collage for you of some shots from Mr. Moore here. But the problem was, and he made a decision that he's gonna potentially compete in Classic. The problem is, his last showing wasn't his best showing. He wasn't that conditioned, and you can really tell from the back he was lacking in the conditioning. He was lacking the separation. Now, from the front and from some of the side shots, especially, he looks good. But the glutes you can see are somewhat hard, but you can see that it could be harder. You can see the lower back has quite a bit of water retention, and you can even see some of the skin folds showing. So there's some validity to what I'm saying here. And I think that he has a lot of chance to do really well, to really succeed in men's open. I just feel like he's kind of pulling the plug a little too soon to diet down and go into Classics. So I don't know. Please let me know what you guys are thinking about Patrick, because I think he could do more. He's won pro shows, so he's a multiple-time IFBB pro champion in a few different shows. I just don't think it's time for him to switch classes. I think he needs to just stay in open and just keep working on it, keep perfecting it, keep putting on the mask. But with him deciding to switch to Classic, he's already going to be downsizing. He's going to lose some muscle and streamline some things. And I think that he's already done the damage. So we'll see. We'll see where he lands whenever he decides to announce what show he's going to do. But love the guy. I wish he would have stayed in open, in my opinion. Now, a little bit of clickbait, so I do apologize. But Breon Ansley has announced that he's done. He is done with Classic. He's done with Classic. He's switching to 212. People have been saying this for a long time, and it's something that is very common when you look at Classic physique. You have Classic physique is still developing its identity, its character, and its different ways of showing what the physique and what the bodybuilder within Classic is going to want to strive to have. And it would look that the judges are, how do you want to say it? They kind of are pushing out the traditional bodybuilder-esque looks, the downsized, conditioned, crazy shredded, shrunk down 212 guys that are in Classic, and they're kind of pushing those guys out into where they probably naturally would have landed in the 212. I don't have anything against that. I think that Breon is going to do very well in the 212. I thought Keon Pearson was going to do very well in the 212, and he was unfortunately kind of pulled the plug, I think, way too early. Absolutely dominated the Chicago Pro his first year, and then kind of peed the bed on the second one, and then also just really didn't come in that great shape at the Olympia. So another guy pulled the plug too soon. Breon, I think he's pulling the plug perfectly, moving into 212. I don't think that his physique is at all deteriorating. He is in his early 40s, I believe, if not mid 40s. So yeah, he's a little older, but his physique hasn't gotten any worse in the last 4 years. He's been a top 3, top 4 Olympia finisher in these last 4 years, and he's also a 2-time Classic Physique Olympian champion. So I think if he's going to be rolling into the 212, expect him to, I don't know, I'm pretty sure he's qualified for any division if he decides. So he'll probably roll right into the 212 Olympia. Wow, I had a brain fart. I was actually thinking what I just said. Isn't that the reason why Flex Lewis needed the special invitation? Was because he didn't qualify in Open? So maybe he needs a special invitation, or he needs to qualify, maybe at the Tampa Pro or one of those earlier or later shows in the year, maybe the Texas Pro. Not sure. I'd love to see what his thoughts are and where he's going to be landing to nail a qualification, or if he already is qualified. But definitely let me know, guys, your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely the ladies and the gentlemen, what your thoughts are. Breon Ansley switching to the 212. And let's go ahead and finish up with an athlete we haven't seen in a couple of years, Quinton Araya. Now, the last time we saw this absolute freak of a man was at the 2020 New York Pro. I loved his package that he brought there. World class, crazy lines, crazy flow. You don't get to see such crazy physiques with the tiny midsections very often. You have the Raf Breos, you have the Quinton Arayas, you have the guy out of the UK that competed at the Arnold UK last year. I keep forgetting his name. You don't get to see this kind of proportions very often. And unfortunately, at the 2020 New York Pro, he didn't come in as sharp and as crisp as he needed to really place higher than he did. But I still thought that he did well for that show. And it would seem that him and the judges decided that they wanted to take the time, put a little bit more muscle on, and perfect that conditioning, and then probably try to qualify for this year's 2022 Olympia. Or at least that's what it looks like with some of these most recent contest prep photos, although I don't know if he's announced a show yet. So let me know, guys, if you know if Quinton is doing a show soon or later, and definitely let me know what your guys' thoughts are not seeing him in the last couple of years on stage. So that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Bodybuilding Today, where me, ya boy, Saunch, covers trending and hot topics. Hot topics. I need to not use that term. That's funny. Y'all remember Hot Topic? I think it's still a thing. Where I cover hot conversations in the NPC and IFBB. But that'll do it, guys. Thank you so much for stopping in and checking out another episode. Subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you in the next one.